This is Wiomua in the Central region, the AAK district, Abura Sebukwamankase. We fall under the Abura state of the district, and this is Abura Wiomua. We are witnessing a natural phenomenon that last took place 13 years ago during the rainy season, when the rivers overflowed and broke their banks. As you can see clearly, normally behind those coconut trees is where the little innocent river, very tiny river, flows, minding its own business. And suddenly, the rains come from the various districts, overflow, and our little river breaks its banks. And you can see right here our football pitch that's normally nice and dry, completely covered halfway with the river flowing, rushing to the Kakum River, which is on the other side of this road, right behind, well behind in that direction. Now the Kakum River has broken loose and is rushing like crazy towards the sea. You can see its waters have even reached the back of this basic school in the river, in the village. That's all flooded at the back. Now, when the Kakum River gets really flooded, there's nowhere for this river to flow into, and then it just covers our road. This is actually now divided us between Cape Coast and Abura State. You can see here people trying to cross over by foot, and cars are parked because they're not quite sure if that's going to damage their engine. This time it hasn't been too bad, because I've had an experience where the river was so high. I drove through it and the river was literally as high as my bonnet, and I just managed to cross over to come home. It took about 3 or 4 days for this water to really go down and clear the road so the road could be seen again. You can see here my people in the village are so excited because some have seen it before. Some are saying it's been 13 years. And of course, there's a generation who's never seen this before, and they're really excited. A lot of children excited. I mean, it's always exciting to watch. We've had so many creatures. In fact, last night, some children had caught a monitor lizard. You can see fish, being washed away. You can see all kinds of creatures. Sometimes there are snakes being washed away because obviously the river has gone through their homes and whatever it is and flooded it. So there's nowhere for these snakes to go, and they end up, swimming along. You can see the attempt for some people to make it to the other side, maybe out of curiosity, not because they got anywhere to go as such. You can see more and more people coming to witness what's going on. The excitement, see these guys, children, everyone's so excited. I got a phone call yesterday to say the river had crossed, and I panicked because I wasn't sure if I'd get home last night. But then I got into my area where I have my kingdom, and I realized that it wasn't too bad, and the Jeep was able to go through without any problems because, of course, the wheels are quite thick and high, so we never had any problems with the engine. But you can see some of these cars are much smaller. Some of these cars also have problems once water gets into the engine. So some people are just not taking the risk, not sure whether right now we're just having a lot of witnesses, people excited, people just crossing to see how deep it is to get to the other side. People who have places to go and are stuck and thinking how to get to the other side, but it's not too bad. You can see the children all excited, seeing this river on their football pitch. There's a little guy there, can't believe it. He's just so fascinated. It's never happened before in his life, though the rest of us older ones have seen it before. So yes, here we go. Finally, after 13 years, the river has finally crossed, cutting us off from Cape Coast on the border. This is really exciting. It's sad for those who may have had some damage done to their properties, because I know there are a couple of houses that are pretty low, and the rains will definitely do some damage with this river overflow. But like I said, it's a natural phenomenon. If you build in the path of any water that needs to pass by to reach the Kakum River, then you're asking for trouble. Somewhere in all this, I can see in that direction somewhere, there's actually supposed to be somebody's foundation. Now the foundation is under the water. I hope they're learning their lesson. The foundation is actually under the water. Now let's have a look over on this side. Yes, I know there's another gentleman who's built his house on the other side, and I believe behind those trees where his house is probably again all flooded. Now that's the river. You can see more and more people feeling so excited coming down. It's been like this since last night. People rushing down to come and witness. You see this lady taking her child to go and witness it. This young lady who's supposed to be going to work, she's selling, and she's probably thinking, how is she going to cross the river to go to work? Look, she's carrying Fanti Kenke on her head in her bowl. She's taking it to the next town to make her sales for her parents, for her mother perhaps. And she's probably, I just heard her screaming in the local dialect, how is she going to cross over? There's a taxi. Well, he's parked. Not sure he wants to take that risk unless he just wants to observe. Yes, today we have a lot of observers, to be honest, because it's not too bad. It's been worse than this. It's not too bad. Don't know if it will get any worse later on. But people are just, walking through because, you feel like you're walking through a river that you normally don't see. Today it's broken loose, and it's just blocked us off. It goes further. I just wish I could get another shot of the river going further up, and then it stops where the road begins to ascend. I think the water can't reach that way, that high, so it's basically all down this end. So yes, this is a natural phenomenon. I've never heard of it kill anybody or anybody drowning or anything of the sort. But it can do some damage if your car is too low and you drive through and water gets into your engine. Then you're really asking for trouble. So for now, I think people are just rushing over to go and, watch. Yes, it's an exciting time if you've never seen it before. We have some people in the village who are what I call visitors, people who have moved in, hired places in the village, who are not actually from here. So this would be amazing for them because they've never seen it before either. So you can see people still trying to cross over, taking their time, because you see underneath all this, the water is rushing. It doesn't look so dangerous from the surface, but underneath, it's moving really, really fast. There's a temporary car wash on the other side that's completely flooded. You can see just beyond those greens, completely flooded. Okay, here's a local bus transport that takes people from one village to the other. He's just arrived from one village trying to cross over to Cape Coast, and I'm not sure if he's going to try and risk it. Yes, I can see he's going pretty close. Yes, there he goes. He's in the water. He's in the water. I think he's going to try and risk it. He's a bit higher. Nope. Looks like he's reversed a bit. Maybe not too sure. Yeah, he's reversed a bit. He's actually stopped. And I think people are wondering if he's going to try and risk it. Now, I've got to go out. I've got to go out at some point to drop a visitor at the airport. And I'm still here thinking to myself, how am I going to make this journey? Because whether I go this way or try and go the opposite direction, I have a feeling I'm still going to come across this water because the river. Okay, so he's going now. He's checked it and realized that it's not too bad. Just watch him, his wheels are covered and he's still going. Yes, you can see the water is pretty high. You see, that's the deepest point. He's still going. He's still going. Let's just pray that, yes, the water is very deep. The water is very deep. And he's still going. Oh, it's a shame I can't follow him all the way to the end. But he's taken that risk. And he's gone. I think he's probably past the deepest end. And he's gone. I just hope that he's managed to make it to the top of the hill. By the sound of the engine, I think he has made it. People are fascinated. A lot more people coming to watch. It's crazy. It's a funny feeling. It's a really funny feeling. Something so natural, yet so dangerous. Once again, okay, I can just see somebody coming from the other end, trying to cross by foot. Yes, cars going back, not ready to risk it. Because if it was that low for the bus, you can imagine how much water would go inside these cars. People trying to even go to church on the other side cannot do it. They can't make that journey. Yes, I think that bus made it. He's got to the other side. He'd probably have to stop and make sure that all the water drains out of his engine or car or whatever before he carries on with his journey. Yes, there's another person walking through. Yeah, great experience. So, 13 years and we're cut off from Cape Coast. This is only temporarily. The last time this happened was about 13 years ago, and it took about 3 days. Fortunately, this time round and the last time, we had enough food in the house not to worry. In the rainy season, I always suspect it might happen. So I always make sure that I'm stocked up with enough food and water to make sure that I don't get cut off. Yes. And once again, we have been cut off. The funny thing is, you never know when it's going to happen, because it could rain very heavily for days and yet nothing happens. And when you least expect it, 13 years down the line, you least expect it, you just wake up and the river has crossed the road trying to get into the Kakum River so it can wash away into the sea. So we never know when this is going to happen. These things do happen. It's not a curse. It's nothing horrible. It's very, very natural. It's very natural for this to happen. It's obvious that this piece of stretch is naturally designed for this river. But of course, when people have built in its way and its path, it just gets all chaotic and fills wherever it can fill until it's able to get to the Kakum River. Like I said, the people in this village have always said that it does happen. But this happens when it's been raining heavily all over in Ghana and all over the districts. All the rivers get full, and of course, water's looking for its level, and its level is to make its way back to the sea. And that's exactly what's happening. All the water's rushing from other areas. Unfortunately, it's come through our area, and it's rushing to the sea. Yes, there's a little boy somewhere there. You can see him all excited, trying to work out where this is coming from and where it's going. The last time I saw this happen, the children actually decided to swim. So this football pitch turned into a big, massive swimming pool for the locals, and they just had fun. Yes, you can see the children. There, a couple of children at the end, feeling so fascinated. They probably can see fish and other creatures in this water. See, they're trying to work out how deep it is by poking the river with sticks to see how deep it is, whether it's risky trying to get into it or... Like this generation, those little kids, their generation have never seen this before. So of course they're very, very, very fascinated. And one has to be careful because you don't know if there might be water snakes or normal snakes that have come out of their holes because the holes are flooded and maybe wandering inside this water, Because, sometimes snakes do take a swim when they want to cross from one place to another. So, yes, this could happen, Yes, more and more people rushing. There's the old lady. She's just come from the village. She's going to have a look. Something she's probably seen before. Yeah, I just heard these two ladies chatting, and this one is saying it's been a long time. It's been a long time since this happened. So it's kind of like an experience for everybody. Another child completely fascinated. Completely fascinated. I'm here on my balcony, which, I know I'm safe up here. And just zooming in, watching what everybody is doing. In my position, I couldn't be seen, attempting to go near the river. I mean, it would be too dangerous for me. So I just stand up here watching the people from my kingdom just going to the river to see what is going on. Yes, more people trying to cross over. Another taxi's just arrived, probably thinking he wants to go to work. Can't go to work this morning. No one wants to take that risk. Yes, I think the churches are going to be empty today because instead of everyone getting ready to go to church, they're all heading towards this river to see what's going on. Now, I can't really tell if the river is getting worse or it's receding. But for those who saw it yesterday, they're back again to see it again and again until it all disappears. You know, they're not frightened or anything. They're just fascinated. Like I said, it's been a long time since this happened. So they're just fascinated. So if it gets any worse, I'll bring you some updates. But so far, this is where we're at. This is the level that it's at. Look, you can see people going through and it's right up their legs already to the kneecap. It's right up to the kneecap. So I think as you go further, it gets deeper. So that's my update from Wiomua on the border of Cape Coast in the AAK district, Abura State, Central region. Thank you for joining us.